Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Hey,
Hi.
Macy.
How are you, Macy?
I'm good. I'm tired. This is our new house, so we've been moving in, which is why I wasn't in class last week. I'm sorry.
Oh, really? That's awesome.
Moving can be fun.
It was a good distraction since, there's nothing to do, stuck at your house all day.
Mm-hmm.
So get bored. You change houses.
If you get bored, just go on Redfin, find something.
Right? Yeah.
Sounds good.
Just waiting on Brooklyn and Brene. Oh, and there they are.
I didn't know the work I was supposed to do completely, so I have my 3 body paragraphs
Okay.
written.
3 body paragraphs.
Yeah.
That's good. So you just you can work on your introduction, and today we're going to go over conclusions. We're kind of working together to help each other with their KWOs, since we're putting in our own ideas, and if we know anything about the story, we can help, of course we can help each other out in that. So how did writing the intros go for everybody?
It was good.
It was good. Yeah, we liking what we're saying, like that we're being all authoritative and like, yes, this is my opinion, but it's actually a fact. We're, stating everything as a fact. Come on, we gotta be excited about something. It's gonna rain outside today, so we can't be excited about going outside and playing around.
I can be excited about playing around because I have an amazing screened-in porch.
Oh, nice. Yes.
And I might actually go back there.
That would be lovely. That would be lovely. I do not have a screened-in porch, but that'd be nice to go outside and on the porch and take a nap, read a book, that kind of stuff. But I will find other things to do today. Probably grocery store. That's probably what I need to do today. Okay, so we are going to be working on our conclusion, and that's the last thing. Yes. Okay. And then I have a challenge for you guys as you're writing, because I did not give you a checklist. So, can you write without a checklist?
Yes.
And it not be the dog did this, the dog did that, we're gonna get it done, and the cat ran here. Can we attempt to write without a checklist and still get in all the stuff that you're supposed to get in?
I mean, I do that most. I don't really look at my checklist.
So that's a challenge now. It's a challenge to be like, okay, what am I still supposed to put in here? Now I can send a checklist that you can refer back to, because I have one done, but that you can refer back to just to make sure that we're not writing like first graders. Okay, we don't need do you remember those books that you learned how to read? That you can read it books. Do you remember those books? No one remembers those books. Jack, the whole Jack went up the hill.
Oh,
Jack
yeah.
went down the hill.
Oh, yeah, those.
Those kind of books, yes. Okay. So if we can do that, I will send a checklist just as a reference. We're going to see if we can step into the real world, because professors and teachers are not going to give you a checklist. They're just going to expect you to have written it a certain way. So end of year, you can do it. We're going to pump up your writing.
Yes.
Yes, we can do it. Okay. So last week we talked about what we kind of referenced back what goes into the introduction and what goes into your conclusion, and we worked on our intro KWOs, helping each other out. So remember, you know, in your intro, we had background information, type of movie or book. If you wanted to talk anything about the actors or actresses, did they fit the character? Did their voices fit? Any thoughts or opinions, but you stated them as a fact or statement. Okay, now with your conclusion, you can talk about the best part and why it's the best part, the worst part and why. Lessons, did everything come together? This is where you can back up that idea of lessons with Bible verses or quotes or things other people have said. And then would you recommend the reading or watching the movie, reading the book or watching the movie, and why? And are you going to say, I recommend you read this book?
No.
No. What could you say if you're writing about, because Brooklyn and Brene are writing about the Christmas Project, is that what it's called?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I want to make sure I got that right. So it had like a really big lesson about like inspiring and giving. So it could be if you, so instead of saying, I recommend you watch this movie, for those needing a bit of inspiration, this movie is a must watch because it proves why we need to give more than we expect to receive. Something like that. So it really is showing the reason and the meaning behind whatever you're writing about, whatever the movie is or whatever the book is. So you're getting to your key thoughts and ideas. So conclusion, best part, why? Worst part, why? You don't have to do best and worst part. You can pick one. Because if you love it, you're going to go with the best part. If you hate it, you're going to go with the worst part. I think did everybody pick something they love? I thought everyone picked something they love.
I did, but
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. So we don't need to even focus on the worst parts of it. And everybody pretty much has a lesson that goes along with whatever they're writing about. And just be thinking about why you would recommend people to read or watch the movie or book. Okay. So, NAVEYA, tell me why what was the best part of the movie, The Greatest Showman, for you?
There's a lot of good parts in it.
Okay.
But I think that really stood out to me was at the ending, there was a big fire, but then like after that they overcame it, and then the guy Philip helped Barnum like rebuild another one, like was it like, I think it was the tent, and then there had like so many people at the end in the tent, and it was just like pretty awesome how they like kind of did it, and it was like, I don't know, but
okay, so really The Greatest Showman is this story about overcoming and rebuilding and finding a true meaning of family. I don't know exactly where you went with your introduction, but hopefully this will help kind of bring it back in the conclusion. So if we say like an overall statement, and then we can give an example using the best part, BP being the best part. We have the fire, and when they think they're about to lose everything, they really gain so much because Philip shows, and I would do an arrow symbol up, shows up. And why this is the best part, the tent instead of the building proves you can fill hearts and minds and imagination. It's a sense of togetherness. they really do at that point become partners, right? They almost become brothers in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Because before it was P.T. Barnum being like, I'm only going to give you 8%. And now all of a sudden it's 50-50. So that shows that the trust that they have in each other. So being the overall lesson to me, it's like one of my favorite parts of the movie is when he's feeling sorry for himself, and it's right there after the fire. He's feeling sorry for himself, and all of the people from the circus come in, and then he realizes where his heart is and what he loves the most, and he's not willing to let his family go. And that then is taken into, he's not willing to let his extended family go, being the circus and his new business partner.
Yeah.
I don't know how you feel about that part. But so we have, what do you feel like the overall lesson is then?
Well, trying to think.
Okay, it's okay if you don't have something off the top of your head, but that would be a really good place to talk about a lesson. And you could use a Bible quote or Bible verse if you wanted to, or another quote to back it up. And then you would put in your recommendation. Do you recommend people watch this movie?
Yes.
Okay. Who should watch this movie?
Everyone.
Okay. Everyone should watch this movie. Why should they watch the movie?
Because it has a good meaning to it, and it comes together at the end, and it shows unity.
Okay. So anyone who needs a good story about overcoming and unity should watch this movie. Yes. So everyone needs story, unity, and I might put a check mark there to say yes, they should watch this movie.
Okay.
So The Greatest Showman shows that you can overcome and rebuild when you rely on family, you know, something like that.
Yeah.
And that's supposed to be, I think, what did I put? Okay. But you can just think about a lesson that comes to mind, or the idea, and then a quote from or a Bible verse that helps build on that. Gives that kind of like that oomph, that, yeah, this is not just my opinion, it's a fact. And someone needs to come up with a rap for that. Who's a rapper? Anybody a rapper in this group? It's not just my opinion, it's a fact. Come on, that would be amazing. Come on, Brooklyn, I know you can do that. I feel it in your spirit. You could do something like that.
He raps in the shower all the time.
You know, come on, go with it. Like, it's not my opinion, it's a fact. I don't know. Go with it. Bonus points for who can create a rap for me for that. Okay, Preston, onward. Are you ready to talk about your conclusion?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so we talked last week in your introduction about Onward proves like the importance of having a dad. The animation brings lots of emotion. Little brother and big brother, you know, go on this journey and experience together. They overcome obstacles. The little brother has a decision that he has to make that we can relate to. The audience sees the dad and boom, it's like tears of, you know, of understanding why the big brother needed to say goodbye to the dad. Something along that lines. Does that sound vaguely familiar?
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah. Do you need
Yeah,
help
pretty
with your conclusion?
Hmm?
Do you want to talk about what your conclusion?
We can. I mean,
Okay. So I need you to think about what lesson did you learn? What was the best part of the movie for you?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I mean, I learned the importance of a father figure,
Okay.
but I'm not really sure what the most important part of the movie is.
But what was your favorite part of the
A
movie?
favorite part of the movie.
Yeah, what was just your favorite part of the movie?
Oh, they go in this gas station, and there's a bunch of tiny like biker dudes. It's kind of funny. I think
Are
that's.
they dudes or are they like girls? Or are they both?
Hmm.
Are like the little tiny things?
Yeah, yeah,
Are they both boys and girls? Or are they
yeah,
okay? So they're just biker people.
yes.
So what did the biker people show?
They were like, I don't know the word. Crap. They were very. Dang it! I don't know the word. Can't think of it. But they were like small and like all about that talk and stuff, you know?
Okay. So they were tiny biker people who talked a good talk.
Yes.
Okay. But were they actually searching for something?
I think they were, but I forget what it was.
Well, they were kind of they were stuck. It's like they needed their magic back, or they were lost really about it. So we could talk like that they're lost, and why is this like a really good part of the movie? Like when you meet the biker people, and I might draw like some type of gas symbol, like for the gas station. So the tiny biker people at the gas station, they talk a good talk. Because when they realize they can still fly, does that change who they are?
Yeah.
When they find themselves?
Mm-hmm.
Why is this important? They find themselves.
Yes.
When they realize that they can still fly. And then it's all of a sudden, instead of like, rah, 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 they're like, whee!
Yeah.
Okay, that's just my opinion of it. You make it your own. I'm just gonna do we, so you have like that idea. But to start off the conclusion, so the movie, I'm just gonna put an O there for onward, takes us on an adventure who you are. And I just, almost like text talk there. So the lesson being, sometimes we have the importance of a dad, and we also sometimes we have to give something up in order to help somebody else out. Draw arrow up and help. Put bro. And then find a good quote, maybe Bible verse, about helping others or about sacrifice. And then, do you recommend this book or this movie?
Yes.
Yes. Why? Who should watch it?
Huh?
Who should watch this movie? What kind of people?
Smart people.
Smart people.
Yeah.
So if you're not smart, you should not watch this movie.
I'm playing. People that are looking for a crap ton of suspension.
Okay. So those who need to discover adventure in their own lives would enjoy this
Yes.
movie? Okay. And
Yes.
maybe those who need maybe to discover something about themselves too. Okay? Woo! 2 down, 2 down.
Oh, yeah.
We're getting there. We're getting there. Okay. BREELYN, Pete's Dragon. How's it going?
Pretty good.
Yay. So do you have any ideas for your conclusion?
I don't know, not really.
Okay. I just realized I didn't change the Roman numerals and that was bothering me. Okay. So the intro is going well, writing it.
Mhm.
Yay, I love to hear that. And where is our focus?
Unlike the outro or the conclusion.
In your intro, what
Oh,
are we focusing on?
I don't remember, but I know it's my paper's downstairs in the
Okay.
kitchen. So.
Give me a second. I'm trying to pull up what, there we go, what we had chatted about. It's just in a different place. Okay, so in the introduction of Pete's Dragon being like a fantasy adventure about finding family, the story tugs even at the cold-hearted. It's a new look into dragons and the meaning of family. Life changes instantly as the deer runs, causing a car crash, taking away Pete's family. Pete carries a book on throughout his adventure. You know, it's an important on his important search, sharing lessons of being like open-hearted, something along that lines. So we're gonna like bring that back in. So with our conclusion. Okay. So remember we're going to need something to kind of like tie that in. Just gonna go through quickly here. Okay, best part. Why it's the best part. Lesson. Something to back up that lesson. And then do you recommend? And why? So thinking about how we're sharing lessons, could you ask a question to open up your conclusion? I feel like you could very much, you know, what truly impacts or what truly opens up someone's heart? What is family? What does family really mean? Something along that lines. I think that that would be a really great place to tie in like a question. So I'm just gonna just put in question there so we know what we're doing. You can either ask like, what is family? Or you could go from the lines of what opens someone's heart.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's the best part of the movie for you?
I like where they like are, I don't know what they're doing. Like they take out the dragon from like that big like place that they were like keeping it,
Okay.
and then they like drive, and then they like, I think I don't really remember exactly, but the dragon like blows fire, and then it like starts breaking down the bridge that they're all on, and then they like are, and then that family starts like falling down, and then they start falling, and the dragon couldn't fly, and then all of a sudden he could like fly, and he ended up saving them.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So I might do something like, when the dragon is released, breathes fire. It's the height of the climax. That's really what you're doing. It's like the height of the climax brings in the audience, brings in the viewer. The dragon's been released. He breathes fire, and all of a sudden, just in the nick of time, realizes he can save somebody's life. So I would draw a symbol of a bird here, like one of those little V things, showing that it's like flying.
Yeah.
And then save family. So why is this your favorite part of the movie? Why is this the best part?
It's cool because, like, I don't know, I think it's cool because, like, the dragon ends up, because, like, they got him and he was, like, knocked out. I don't exactly know, but he couldn't, like, fly, and then I don't know, they all, like, ended up falling, and they all, like, became, like, the bad guys, I guess, became nice, and they ended up liking the dragon, not wanting to kill him.
Okay, so it's a really cool part of the movie because everybody realizes that the dragon is not going to hurt anybody, that the dragon is actually good, right?
Yeah.
So it brings everyone together. It brings everyone together. So what lesson do we learn from Pete's Dragon? And this is a really good part of how you can bring in to what is a family, because the dragon's been released and everyone thinks like, oh my gosh, it's going to be the end. The bridge is gone and what's going to happen? And then, oh my gosh, the dragon saves. And so what's cool is that the dragon, people realize the dragon is good and it brings everybody together. So in a sense, our lesson is, do we get to pick sometimes who our family is? Do we get to accept people into like our circle? Yeah. We don't get to pick our mom and our dad and our brother and our sister, right? But do we get to say, hey, like my best friend is like my sister, or my mom's best friend is kind of like an aunt to me, or, like we get to kind of pick who we see as family. So in a way, that's a really cool part because we get to discover that we get to actually choose who we accept as family. You might draw a picture of a family. And then that might be a good place to put in like a really cool quote about family. I always love cool quotes. And then do you recommend the movie?
Yes.
So big check mark for yes. And why do you recommend it, or who needs to watch it?
I think it's a good like storyline. It shows that like, I guess like you said, like people, like you can accept like a bunch of people to be your family, and I don't know.
Okay, so I am trying to like abbreviate storyline there. So big check mark. It's an amazing storyline for those who struggle with the idea of family.
Yeah.
Because it can help them overcome that. Mm-hmm. And I would do a light bulb per idea. Bless you.
Thank you.
Okay. Woo! We're getting there. But I need someone to do a rap. Okay, I'm not a rapper. I want to be though. I was going to be a beatboxer. I think that would have been cool. Yeah. I'm not even gonna try. Okay. So Brooklyn and Brene are writing about the same thing. But they're taking it in two different ways, but we're gonna help them kind of at one time with their ideas here. So what they shared was, the Bible tells us to pray for our enemy, to, treat others, or a quote about kindness, something. It's a lesson for everyone about seeing through someone else's eyes, maybe. It's a great Christmas movie with everyday principles. 4 brothers are pushed by bullying and then choose to bless them. It's a true life example of how we should treat other people because it's based on a true story. Okay, so now we need to wrap that up. Woo! How are we gonna wrap that up, girls?
You can go with your examples that we just said about the conclusion.
So if we're thinking for our conclusion, what could be like the first sentence of the conclusion?
Like an overview of
An interview?
An overview.
Overview. I thought you said interview. I'm like, who are you gonna interview? That would be cool. Okay. Like, did you send an email to like the people who wrote the movie?
Oh.
That would be a really good thing to do because it's based on a true story, is to see if there's any quotes from the brothers or the family.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That would be a great way to open it up, the conclusion. Okay, and then we get into the best part. And why?
It's hard because there's so many like good parts.
So what was your favorite part? You guys have the same favorite part?
I don't know. Because there's a lot of like little funny parts, but like there's not really like it doesn't really have much to do with the overall part of the story.
But the little parts have to be important for them to put it in there. So tell me a part that you liked.
I would say when Juniper moves into the neighborhood.
Okay. How can we bring that into the overall meaning of the story?
Well, at the end of so then when they were kids, when they were young, Juniper moved into his neighborhood right across the street. And then at the end of the movie, cause he's like doing like the narration as like he's talking about his life. And so then at the end he says, and then like 20 years later, here we are, and then they got married, Juniper and him. And so, like,
Yeah.
super cute. Like, they grew up together after she moved in across the street, and then
Now they're married.
I need to watch this movie.
Oh, that sounds so sweet. So the best part is when Juniper moves into the neighborhood. Okay, and I'm gonna put an O here, but that's really a circle. Like, because that's the idea that we know something is gonna come full circle. Like, we know something big is gonna happen. And why is it the best part? Because it does. You know, was Juniper a good was she like at all like a good role model or a good person? Was there anything throughout like the younger years where I don't know, like there was a helping or anything?
I mean, definitely since their mom was also pregnant, they were over at Juniper's house a lot because Juniper's older sister would watch them.
Okay.
Well, like in the hospital and things for
like the baby. So there's a few times like that, and they went to the same school. And since the Buckley boys were getting bullied, Juniper's younger brother was also getting bullied. So like they were all just like, you know, a little group that
Okay.
kind of work together pretty much.
Aww.
Okay, so like when I think about like that, so like the best part of the movie is when Juniper moves into the neighborhood, showing that something is about to come full circle. It shows or proves or allows the audience to discover when friends experience something together, it leads to like a lifetime. And I might just draw like kind of like a timeline type thing, to a lifetime of togetherness or friendship or relationship, something along that lines. Sometimes the little parts can also like show like in the overall meaning of it too, especially if there's a narration at the end and we find out that there's a marriage and all that kind of stuff. I love that. Okay, so then of course the big lesson being treating other people with love and kindness and respect, or treat others the way you want to be treated. What other lessons can we have? Give more than you expect to receive. Are there any other lessons you girls like? These are just the ones from hearing you talk about the movie, but maybe there's one that really sets with you.
Well, another thing with this is they blessed them, but in the sense where they didn't know who was they didn't know who was blessing them.
Mm-hmm.
And so like, they didn't do it out of getting recognition for it, or like doing it to get like, oh,
They're kind of behind the scenes.
yeah, they're like doing it out of they want to bless them, not what they can get out of like blessing them. If that makes sense.
And the Buckley brothers did not want to elve them because they were like bullying us, like we don't want to do that. But then like towards the end they realized, and then it paid off. The bigger picture. But then it paid off in the end because then I mean they didn't really become like friends, but the bullies didn't bully them anymore.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so then the lesson being to like bless anonymously. We don't have to show off to the world. God, it's important that God sees what we do. I feel like that's, and there's bring in maybe some type of Bible verse, or even you could talk about more about the movie and being that it led to the boys not to say they're not the best friends, but now they can live together or live in the same community without there being like strife or argument, and like the bullying is gone.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then I'm going to take a big guess that you do recommend this movie.
Yeah.
A big check mark there. Yes, we recommend this movie. So who needs to watch this movie, or why do you recommend it?
I think anybody in the family can watch it and get something out of it. And it's kind of just like a little, like, even during like the Christmas season, it really just like gets the feel for like the meaning about it. And it's like, it's not just all about the main part of Christmas obviously is Jesus' birth and celebrating that, but then also being selfless during that time, because it's so easy to get caught up in what I can get out of Christmas and the things that I want, and it's like also about like not yourself and like blessing, providing things for other people that can't provide those things for themselves.
I love that. And so just like a short way, but just to help you remember a little bit. But yeah, yes, this is a recommended movie because families can watch it together and really remember the reason for the season. I know that phrase is way overused, but it's going to help you remember the point of what you were trying to say.
Yes.
Okay. Now my 3-year-old needs my help real quick in the bathroom. Okay, so I will be right back, okay?
Perfect.
So, how's everybody?
Really good. How are you, NAVEYA?
My book's a lot different than everybody else's what they picked. So
Which one's yours, Macy?
it's a ghost story, but it has a good meaning to it. The ghost is an African American girl from the 1960s, and she was one of the first girls to integrate into the schools, and she wasn't like remembered or noticed, and so the main character at the end of the book gets her noticed.
Oh, that's sweet.
Which is good, but it's a cute book, and that is also in my papers. So
that's cool.
it is still a ghost story though. So
Yeah. I can't wait for summer. I mean, like, oh my word.
my backyard is
Summer
really
is,
What, Renee?
I said summer's literally so close.
Like tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, we still have to like do the conclusion and then like
Oh yeah.
for school, but
I
besides
have
Yeah.
like a couple more weeks of
done by
Yeah.
Okay. So I think we have 2 more to go.
I
Okay.
thought I hadn't done his yet.
So, Laura.
Yes.
Okay. So we had 2 ideas that you could have went with for the intro. Did you decide which way you wanted to go?
Yeah, kind of.
Okay. Kind of. Does that mean it might change?
Well, it's a little different.
Okay. So tell me which way you went in your introduction.
Well, I decided to focus more on the author and like his story a little bit
Okay.
because it kind of correlates. You know, he was from Germany
Mm-hmm.
and he immigrated with his family when he was, you know, a little child. So he went through like a big change just like she did in the beginning of the book. So
Oh, I like that. I like when there's an idea between the author and the book. Okay.
mhm.
Okay, so tell me what you feel like is your favorite part of the book.
I can't really decide. I've been
Okay.
trying to think of one the whole time, and I can't think of one.
Okay, I want you to think about your favorite part and then why it's your favorite part. Like, what meaning does that part give to it? Like, why did it, like, what did it do as you were are you doing the book or the movie?
The book.
Okay, so when you were reading those words, what grabbed you? Like, what was like, yes, I could picture that. Yes, that was my favorite part because it meant this this happened. So meaning, or it caused something else to happen that was good. So, but to start off your conclusion, because you're going from the author's perspective, this might be a good place to bring in like something else that the author might have said.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're really like showing how the stories come together. I feel like that would be a really good place to go, because you're bringing the author back into it. After you tell the story, now you have to bring the author back into it. So I would do a quote from the author or something that was said about the author. Okay. And then your favorite part, why it's your favorite part, right? And then what lesson do you feel like you learned? Do you have or was shared? What lesson do you feel like is being taught?
Really, I guess that like no matter what you go through, you can still end up being happy in the end, you know?
Okay. So we get to choose joy no matter what. Big exclamation points for no matter what. Okay, so is there a Bible verse that talks about choosing joy? Probably. I feel like there's of them. Something that along that lines about joy in our life, that joy comes in the morning. Just something, even just something simple, like that. It's a great reminder of what God shares to us throughout his word, and that being that joy comes in the morning. So something simple like that, I feel like, would be very impactful there. And then, do you recommend the book?
Yes.
So big check mark, yes. We do recommend the book. Who needs to read it? What kind of people should read it? Or what are they going to get from it?
Anyone who's going through something in their life that maybe they feel like they can't deal with, I feel like that would be a good book.
Okay. So it's a good book, especially for those who might need some help in dealing with a tough situation or tough circumstance, something along that lines. Okay. I feel like you just need to figure out your favorite part, and then, bam, you got it. Ooh, 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 ooh. Yeah. Okay, you guys are going to totally miss my singing and dancing. I know you are. No one's going to miss my singing and dancing. Now that hurts.
I'm gonna miss it.
I'm gonna miss it.
It's like going to make me cry on the last day.
Oh.
Okay, so now we get to go to Macy. She gets to share with us about her book. What book are you doing?
My book is called The Forgotten Girl, and it's primarily a ghost story, but it has some historical aspects about it. Wait, am I on? Okay, I thought I was on mute because that's happened before, and it was terrible. Anyway, it's this African American girl, and her name is Iris, and she really likes the snow, and so she sneaks out at night with her friend Daniel, because they have a backyard, like a woods in the backyard, because they're next door neighbors, and they find this clearing and like play around in it. But when she makes a snow angel, she realizes that this is like a graveyard, and she's on top of a grave and stuff. So that's kind of creepy. But anyway, that's how we are introduced to I wouldn't want to say antagonist, because it's not completely like that, like a frenemy almost. And her name is Avery Moore, and she was from the 1960s. She was African American, and she was one of the first students to integrate, I think that's the right word, into schools. But she wasn't remembered or anything like that, and so she was upset. And it's kind of complicated. I don't want to get too much into it, but Daniel's grandmother was the antagonist or frenemy's best friend, and so at the end of the story, they help her get closure by like meeting her friend again, I guess. But anyway, at the end, Iris, she restores the segregated graveyard and everything, and she starts a project to get more like restored and everything. So it has some scary aspects, but it's really a really good book to read. So yeah.
Okay, awesome. So let's talk about your introduction, since you were not here last week. So your introduction, remember, has, let me go back to that just so you can see it. So we can give some background about the writer or author. We can talk about the type of book it is. And so this really, it's like a historical fiction book, right?
Historical, well, it's not completely. It has historical aspects, but it does not have actual history. Avery Moore was not an actual person that integrated into schools, but she does embody the people who did and were forgotten.
Okay. Because if we say historical fiction, I feel like that we could get away with that because it's a fiction book.
Historical fiction, scary horror.
It's a historical fiction that brings suspense. I don't know. I mean, you said it's not like all scary.
Well, I didn't go into the scary parts of it because I
Okay.
didn't know people like the scary parts of books. It is a scary book.
Okay. Okay, so we're going to say historical fiction with a bit of scare. I don't want to say it's a scary book, but we could say it has a bit of scare
Yeah.
to it. Okay. But we need some way to open up and to open up your introduction.
Well, I know the author's name.
Okay, tell me the author's name.
India Hill Brown.
India Hill Brown.
Yes.
Okay, I'm just writing it down. Okay. So I'm going to do something like India Hill Brown shares a historical fiction with a bit of scare. And then we can introduce the name of the book and kind of what she does with the book. So, is it The Forgotten Girl?
Mm-hmm.
It's called Forgotten Girl. The Forgotten Girl takes us on an adventure or a journey with Iris, who discovers, and I want you to find something. What do you feel like she discovers there?
I think that she discovers like the past of her town, like the history of her town.
Okay. Okay. So Iris discovers like some history about her town. Now, do you think that this has what do you think that this book does? Does you think it has great purpose?
I think it gets you aware of how people of a different race were treated in the 1960s.
Okay.
Like even in death, they were kept apart by people who were different than them.
Okay. So Iris soon learns about the history almost of, the idea of racism. You could think about the ideas of desegregation when everyone was like integrated into like a school, and doing that, she sees through the eyes of, it's Avery, right?
Yes. And she herself was like sometimes like forgotten as well, like at like school ceremonies and stuff, they forget to send her an email saying that that this was going to happen. She's the captain of like dance team at her school, and she was not like notified.
Okay.
So that would be part of the ceremony.
Okay, so in a way, so Iris is taking on this idea in history about racism and what happened when schools were integrated. She sees things through the eyes of Avery, who had felt forgotten, despite being one of the first students who was integrated.
She sympathized with Avery.
So Iris relates because she herself feels like she's not leaving a legacy. I mean, if she's being forgotten as well, she can relate to that. So it's like this whole idea of like, when you don't feel like you're leaving a legacy, that's really hard on people. And I feel like that's what you can bring into the conclusion, because when we feel like we're not doing enough to get somebody's attention. So let's talk about your conclusion real quick. And that's not what I meant to do. Okay, so your conclusion.
So at the end, so at the end, Iris and Avery have different aspects of how to leave a legacy and how to be remembered. Avery, the ghost, she doesn't really want to do it the correct way. She wants to leave a legacy. She was mad at people for like not remembering her.
Mm-hmm.
So she wanted to leave like a legacy that people would be afraid of. Sorry, it's been a while since I read this book.
No, that's okay. So the whole like overall idea is legacy and history, because we desire to leave some type of impact. We desire to have some kind of impact on other people. So what was the best part of the book or your favorite part of the book?
I think it was the very beginning when she went into like the graveyard clearing, because it had a lot of suspense, and then like cool things like just little creepy aspects in it that made the story really interesting and like hooked you. Okay, so this is really good because I want to get more back into reading, and so now that I'm doing this, I want to read this today. So it's very good.
Okay, so we can talk about the graveyard scene and how that kind of like sets up the whole suspense of it all and what is about to happen. You can tell me why that's your favorite part. Okay, and then the lesson that I'm hearing, like as you talked about a little bit about the end of the book, is that
like not to
Iris
overlook.
learns how to do things the right way.
Yeah.
Kind of like overcoming. So doing something the right way. What does that mean to do it the right way?
I was thinking more like not to overlook the important things, because both Avery and Iris were like forgotten, and like people didn't realize how important everything was.
Okay. So like, because I'm gonna send out the slides from the PowerPoint, so you can go back and use these like as references. So why don't we overlook the important things, or what does it mean to keep our eyes open? Just some ideas for you to think about, maybe a quote that has to do with that, something that kind of like backs up that idea. And then do you recommend this book?
I definitely would. It's a good scare, but it also has it has a lot of important things. Like it tackles a very hard subject in a really good way.
So I like that. So yes, you recommend this book because tackles important topic in a really cool way.
I've always liked Martin, like Martin Luther King Jr. and stuff. I did like a poster board on him for like a history fair and stuff. So I like this kind of stuff.
That's very cool. So it tackles an important topic with a really cool story and setting and something like that. Okay. Woo! Can you believe it? We did it, and we did it in the right amount of time. Perfect timing. 200 extra bonus points to us. Okay. So remember, I will send you a checklist, but it is for reference, unless your mom tells you otherwise. Just say.
So do we have to do everything on the checklist, or just try to add a lot of that stuff from the checklist?
It should be stuff that we want to add normally, or like almost like a habit now. It's there just to go back. You do not have to add everything that's on it, but I am looking for that we have some dress ups in there, that I do see some LYs, that sentences are not all started with one type of sentence opener. You know, I keep joking about, you know, Jack ran, you know, up the hill, Jack ran down the hill, Jack fell down, you know, that all being like number ones. But I really don't want to see a bunch of number threes either. Curiously, he did this. Anxiously, he did this.
I have a habit of falling back onto prepositional phrase openers.
We don't need to see all in the woods, over the hill. up to the house, so it's a variety of sentences. I want to see just how well you do that, but the checklist is there just as a reminder in case you want to go back and take a peek at it. But I'm trusting your writing here. Am I making the right choice? I'm kind of sweating right now. No, I know you guys can do it. I know yes, you guys will be amazing, and I can't wait to read your finished draft. If you have sent me stuff, I will get you any ideas or edits that need to be done by tomorrow. I got your email, Macy.
Okay.
Yes. So I will send you an email by tomorrow.
Okay.
I had a lot of grading to do to get done with another tutorial, and it was like, yay, it's done. So now my focus is completely on you guys. Okay. Well, I know some of you have Spanish, and then others of you might want to go hang out before it starts raining or eat lunch or whatever. But woohoo! I'm throwing donuts at you right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Hershey Kisses, or whatever you like. Pretend, okay? But anyway, you guys be amazing, and let me know if you have any questions.
Thank you so much.
Okay, bye guys.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.